Okay, let's just start talking about it. The Trump assassination attempt. I know we're 24 hours removed from it, and I know if you're anything like me, you've spent the last 24 hours flipping through the channels, listening to things on your phone, getting updates. So I'm not going to bore you with a bunch of information you already know. We have this dude. He apparently, somehow, some way, found out where Donald Trump was playing golf, shows up 12 hours ahead of Trump's tee time, sleeps in the woods. He has body armor with him. He has a video camera with him, and he has some sort of a rifle. We're getting conflicting reports about that. Some say AK-47, SKS. We do know it's an older rifle. It wasn't some super switched on piece of gear, but by the grace of God, a Secret Service agent, the advanced team is a hole ahead of Trump when he's golfing. AK-47 poking through a fence, shots ring out. The shooter did not shoot any of those shots from what we get. Secret Service did. They missed. The guy takes off. Okay? Guy gets arrested by the local sheriff. That may be important here shortly for our own purposes. We'll come back to that in a moment. All right, we got all that. Trump is alive. Praise God. Okay. Now, this guy was a Democrat. Don't let anyone lie to you today. He's got a Biden-Harris bumper sticker on his car. He's donated to Democrats 19 times. He wrote some weirdo book about how Iran needs to assassinate Trump. Okay, so he's a nutball, standard street communist. But I want to talk about something larger, as if there even is anything larger. But sadly, this is going to be hard to hear. I'm preparing you for this. Sadly, there is something larger to talk about. Times change. Countries change. Countries go through phases. If you're blessed enough, for instance, we'll make it about us to be an American. We've had different periods of time in our country. But for the modern era especially, it doesn't matter how old you are watching me, I'm going to classify that the modern era. Whether you're 90 or 9, everybody, this is the modern era. For our modern era, you and I have grown accustomed to kind of how things work in this country. And when it comes to political violence, the assassination of political leaders, while, yes, it's happened before, I get that, JFK, it's happened before, it is not common in this country. Not when you look at other countries, other periods of time in history. There are times, I could name you a million countries right now. There are times in Japan at one point in time, this is kind of pre-World War II, they called Japan's government a government by assassination. Just the second someone made someone mad, a group would come in and kill him. Just kill him. Just kill them all. Kill everybody. We don't know what that's like. By the grace of God, we've not had to live in that kind of a country yet. But we are going into a period of time where that is going to be a thing that we have to, I don't even want to say have to accept. It's coming here. We are going to move into being a culture of assassination. The ground is already prepped. The ground is prepped. The people have been conditioned. We now are going to be a country where political leaders, this is not going to be isolated to Trump, they are going to live in fear for their lives, and most of them are going to be right-wingers, Republicans. And we have that because Democrats, communists, have worked masterfully over the years to ensure a culture of assassination where their political opponents will be assaulted, vandalized, and murdered. Democrats have done this. They have done this on purpose. Allow me to explain. You've heard me talk about this before if you've watched the show for any length of time, but you're seeing it laid out now, so allow me to explain it again. There are two different kinds of communists. There always have been. This is not unique to America. It was this way in the Soviet Union, in China, wherever. It's this way here. Two different divisions. There are the elites and there are the streets. They are separate divisions, very separate. The elites, it's the politicians, the CEOs, the powerful people, the judges, the media people. They care about money and power. Right? They're generally not true believers in whatever climate change, LGBTQ, whatever stupid commie gobbledygook they're rolling out there. They're generally not believers in that, but they know they have to pretend to be. They do, however, want their political opponents hurt, silenced, dead. They're fine with whatever. These are just vile, demonic people who only care about money and power. So what do? Well, Jasmine Crockett, actually, right before the second assassination attempt on Trump, she laid it out pretty well.
Listen, the problem isn't the people coming in. The problem is this guy and his people here that are doing the bomb threats throughout our country. Domestic terrorism is a real thing, and he is the guy that stokes it. We swore to defend against those that are coming against us, whether they are domestic or international. And right now, I feel like MAGA in general, they are threats to us domestically.
Okay. You hear that, and you probably roll your eyes because you're so used to it by now. That's ridiculous. Trump's a fairly moderate, kind of squishy Republican, to be honest with you. He's nothing like that. He's a very nice guy. If anything, he's too nice to his enemies. He's a nice guy. It's not any of that. But so you roll your eyes. But I want you to understand something. I want you to understand that the second division of communists, they don't hear that the way you hear it. We talked about the elites. Now let's talk about division number 2. That would be the street communists. These are the ones wearing the Antifa masks, throwing Molotov cocktails, Black Lives Matter rallies, looting Foot Lockers. These are the climate change street animals gluing themselves to the roads. These are the street animals. They are true believers all the way. They believe their demonic stuff all the way. They believe they're warriors for good. And they sit and they consume rhetoric like that. And what it does, what it's done already, this is already done. There's nothing you can, or I can do to reverse this. Year after year after year after year of Trump's a Nazi, Trump's a Nazi, Trump's a Nazi, Trump's a Nazi. It has programmed these people to believe that killing Donald Trump would be a good thing. They, in their minds, have been given permission by the elites to go blow Donald Trump's head off. And in so doing, they will believe that they are stopping Hitler, stopping the threat to democracy. You can look at a montage like this one and roll your eyes, but before I play the montage for you, I want you to look at it through a different lens. I want you to imagine, do this as best you can. I want you to imagine you're a Democrat. All you consume is Democrat sources of information. When you turn on the television, it's CNN, MSNBC. When you open up the news, it's the New York Times. You probably went to an American university, all communist professors. And I want you to imagine your mind, your spirit is so inhumanly broken that you live in a world of make-believe where, oh my gosh, democracy is about to end and the planet is warming and we're murdering illegals and oh my gosh, this is all done because of Donald Trump. And you turn on the news at night and you hear nothing but this for years.
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic.
I think our democracy is at stake. Not a joke. I think democracy is literally at stake.
And God help us all, but democracy itself can fall.
Democracy, our freedoms are what's on the line.
Our democracy depends on you.
It really does, folks. That's no joke.
Donald Trump is a bane to our democracy. And unless people in his own party stand up to him, it's bad for the party. It's bad for those individuals, but most of all, it's bad for the country.
Donald Trump left us the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War.
We can't lose this democracy. We can't.
I mean, if you want to talk about a threat to nation security, talk about Donald Trump. I know. And so,
If you look at that through the lens of a mentally ill Democrat sitting at home, they will eventually feel that they can be the hero in this little saga of ours. Remember this, as you look at this newest assassin, I'm not going to name him on the show, but as you read about him, as we learn more about this sick individual, you're disgusted. You're blown away by, that someone could be that violent. Political violence is horrible. Just violence is an awful thing anyway. You're disgusted. You're horrified. How could anyone be that sick? But you need to understand this man sees himself as the hero, the Hitler stopper, after all, the guy who's saving the country. And that's how communism works now, and it's how it's always worked. The elites, threat to democracy. They give out the targets, the streets, the mentally ill streets. They get their marching orders, and they go. And they loot, and they assault, and they murder. And this has been done everywhere communism has taken hold, and it's being done right now in this country. I would thank you for coming to my YouTube channel, but I know how brilliant it is, and I know you love it here. So subscribe and watch. We're going to start really ramping things up and putting some funny stuff, some interesting stuff out there, some collaborations. Either way, my YouTube channel is officially the place to be. So stick around.